What's cracking, guys? Omar Esop here. In this video today, I'm talking about tips I used to build a bigger back. I thought I'd share it with you guys. Recently, I've been updating you on my progress, a little bit of transformation, going from, a little pudgy to leaner. And, normally people comment on a few things that are like, yeah, man, ass chest there, represent. But people haven't seen, the posterior for over a year and a half, and they're saying, you made some back gains. What have you been doing? So I thought I'd update you guys, provide some insight as to what I've been doing, how I've experienced those results. And really it comes down to a couple simple points I'm gonna go over. The first one is that while the deadlift is amazing, it's phenomenal, okay? It's practically my favorite movement. It's not enough on its own to build a good back, right? A wide back, a thick back, hit all those different muscles. 2 years ago, I would classify my back training as basically deadlifts and deadlift variations. The deadlift is phenomenal for building the erectors, right? Getting that Christmas tree down there. Also working a little bit the lats and whatnot, but it's not enough, right? So I would do deadlifts, I would do block pulls, or I would do a rack pull or something like that. I do some good mornings. So all these are either indirectly or directly working portions of the back. But then I would perhaps train my back itself doing pull-ups and rows and whatnot, maybe once a week, and the volume at that point wouldn't be high at all. So while the deadlifts are amazing, they are not enough. Don't get it twisted. If you're on a traditional powerlifting split of, kind of the deadlift, the squat, and the bench, and maybe accessory stuff, you need to do more volume if you want to build your back, which brings me to point number 2. In my humble opinion, for building a better back, pull-ups or pull-up variations are king. And I prefer them personally over doing rows. I do both. I do absolutely both. But between the breakdown of what I do more of, definitely pull-ups. I find I get a greater range of motion. I feel the contraction in the back more. I've been doing a lot of different variations, so pronated, supinated, neutral. I'll get into that in a second. Pull-ups, but I've just been doing more pull-ups. I've almost tripled my pull-up volume from 2 years ago. From talking to guys like Jay Nera, he told me he does anywhere between 400 to 500 pull-ups a week. Timberwolf, Kane, he also does a crazy amount of volume. Pull-ups for me are kind of pretty much the king back exercise that targets the back, the complete back, and also it's good on the shoulders, right? There's some variations that don't feel so well. For me, pull-ups, doing more pull-ups has definitely been a large factor. I like rows, but I find that you don't get as much of a range of motion because your stomach or your chest or whatever stops that range of motion. Unlike the pull-up, you get a greater range of motion. So that's the second point that I want to raise. The third point that we have to talk about is contraction. I absolutely feel that you can, in certain instances, use some body English, some momentum. You're doing some heavy rows or whatnot, using a little bit of momentum to handle a heavier weight. But for me personally, what I change is for over, I'd say, half of all my back movements, I would try and feel the contraction more. Your back is fucking complicated, okay? You look at the chest, it's like pec major, pec minor, it's just a little bit of stuff going on. The back, on the other hand, is like the Mona Lisa, okay? It's really, actually, Mona Lisa is not complicated at all, but it is like some Rubik's Cube of muscle anatomy, right? You got the lats, you got the traps, you got the rhomboids, you got the rear deltoid, you got the erectors. There's a lot of different muscle groups there. So, because there's a lot of different muscle groups there, you gotta focus on contracting the right muscles. The back isn't a muscle group that you just go in and go like, oh, I'm just gonna like use some momentum and get results. That's not how it works. What I changed was checking my ego to the fucking door, focusing on contraction, focusing on feeling the movements, right? Get my elbows in the right position. If I'm doing a pull down, elbow straight down. If I'm doing a row, elbow straight back. Not using as much body English. So if you're not experiencing as much results with your back movements, try that out. Fourth, and one of the most important ones, variation is key. Hopping off of that point that the back is quite complicated, you got to hit it from multiple different angles, multiple different movements. I don't think just doing deadlifts is enough, and even pull-ups, while I think they're phenomenal, it's kind of like just doing the straight bench press perhaps for building a chest. Variation is key. Dumbbell rows, bent over rows, doing rope rows. I talked about different grips, so you have pronated, you have supinated, and you have neutral. Taking advantage of those will target different areas of the back. So when it comes to the pull-up, right? Neutral, pronated, chin-ups, right? Like so your palms are facing towards you. The row variations, different angles, doing stuff like face pulls in order to make sure you target the rhomboids, also for back health. It's quite complicated. So I would say for myself, a lot of variation, or throwing in more variation has been key. Feeling the contraction, realizing doing more vertical pulling like pull-ups over rows, and then finally doing more overall volume. It sounds obvious, But if you look at most traditional programs, I'd say for building a really solid back, they're lacking, I feel, in volume. I went from a lower volume approach for back training to a moderate to maybe higher volume approach, training it twice per week, and that has really produced more results. The back is very important for a lot of different things. It helps stabilize when you're squatting down. On the deadlifts, it's important. For the bench press, the same idea. You're benching, you're lying down on your back. It needs to be stable. And also for a variety of movements. So the back is very important, not just aesthetically, but functionally. So for me, that's been the big difference. You do that over a period of 1.5 years, 2 years, doing more variations, doing more pulling, vertical pulling than horizontal pulling, focusing on feeling the contraction. That's what it's about, guys. That's how I've been experiencing some results. I want you in the comment section below to post your top tip for building a bigger back. I want to thank everybody for watching the video. If you liked the video, make sure to like the damn video, and I'll be seeing all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace!